You're listening to the Folk Rock Show on WRSU. It's now time to turn to our interview with keyboardist Ray Manzarek of The Doors. The Doors are rated 41st of the top 100 greatest artists of all time by Rolling Stone magazine. They have sold 36.6 million recordings in the U.S. and over 100 million worldwide. Ray Manzarek and Jim Morrison, the frontman for The Doors, met in Venice Beach in California. They were both alumni of the UCLA School of the Theater. Along with Jim Morrison, Ray Manzarek is credited with creating a unique sound of The Doors, a fusion of classical, jazz, soul, and rock music. Ray Manzarek passed away in May of last year. In the interview you are about to hear, another radio station is identified. That station is 99.7 BHX. When I graduated Rutgers many years ago and left WRSU, I wanted to continue in radio. I was fortunate to be able to apply to the FCC and receive a license for a new radio station. That station signed on as a classic rock station in southern New Jersey as 99.7 BHX. When artists were touring or promoting a new book, we sometimes had an opportunity to speak with them. This interview is one of them.
99.7 BHX, the Shore's classic rock. Radio Ron in the morning, classic rock all day. Well, the moment we've been waiting for and plugging for a long, long time is here. Formerly one of The Doors, Ray Manzarek is on our phone. Hi, Ray. How are you?
How are you, Ron? I'm real good, man.
Real good. You're in Los Angeles now, right?
Correct.
This is really great for you to give us some of your time.
Oh, my pleasure, man.
This is a pretty golden moment in this radio station's history.
Well, good.
To speak with you. And it's all about the book, The Poet in Exile.
That's right.
And this is kind of like a follow-up to the last book you did, Light My Fire, right?
Light My Fire is the true story of The Doors. This is what that's my autobiography and the story of The Doors. If you want to know about The Doors, Light My Fire will tell you all about it. Now, if you want to know what happened to Jim Morrison after he went to Paris and maybe did not die, this is my speculation as to Jim Morrison's future and what happened to him if he had staged his own death. It's a novel. It's fiction, folks. It's not a true story.
How is the book doing on the top 10 lists?
I don't know if it's on the top 10. It just came out, but it's selling great, man. Great and great reviews, and everybody's digging it so far. Nobody slapped me in the face yet, but I'm sure that'll come. I hate this book, but so far The Poet in Exile is doing just great. It's an easy read. It's a quick little read. It's a nice little weekend thing, and it'll give you a glimpse into what might have happened had Jim Morrison, in fact, staged his own death in Paris, and what happens to him afterwards. That's the important stuff.
I like the part about it could have been 150 pounds of rocks or sand.
That's right, man. That's right. Something had to be in that coffin to make it kind of heavy, and they just filled it up with sand. Exactly, sand and bricks.
It is on Thunder's Mouth Press?
Yeah, it's part of Avalon Books.
Avalon Books. Okay, Thunder's Mouth Press, Avalon Books, and Ray spells his last name Nanzarek. If you're a rock and roller and you listen to this radio station, this is a must-have book. You really should go pick this one up today. It is called Poet in Exile, Ray Manzarek. And Ray, what are you doing with yourself these days besides writing killer books?
Writing books, working on film scripts, playing some music. I've been composing with an electronic guy, and we're doing some acid jazz, trip hop electronica.
Acid jazz, hip hop electronica,
trip hop. Yeah, right. Electronica, dance, like stuff they would play at raves, but more than in the rave itself, more in like the chiller room, that sort of thing. So it's decidedly jazzy, but it's trip hop and trance, and that'll be out. Hopefully, that'll be out sometime in the next 6 months. New Ray Manzarek solo album.
Is there anything else about this book that we have to know? I mean, anything weird happened while you're writing it?
No visitations, no. But I had a great time writing it. I'd write from like 5 to 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, and I was there with him, man. We're sitting at the bar Gauguin having a Planter's Punch, and it's a great drink and a great cool Somerset Maugham wooden bar, and then we're just talking, man. I mean, it's like 30 years had never even passed. It was like, God, we're doing the same thing we used to do, except we're having a great Planter's Punch in the middle of nowhere. So that was a lot of fun for me.
What do you miss the most about the days of the Doors?
God, you know what? I think just being in rehearsal with the guys, the four of us, when the four of us were together creating songs and just hanging out and having a beer and working on tunes and waxing philosophical about man, God, and existence down in La Cienega and Santa Monica, right on the corner there. It's that's our rehearsal place, and that's like Manahawkin, except it's West Coast Indians, La Cienega, in Santa Monica, so it's really West Coast. There we were, man, and it was fabulous. I really missed that most of all.
Huh. Well, I mean, everything was going good for the Beatles until you guys showed up.
Well, it continued to go well for the Beatles. I think they just had personality problems. No one could get along with Paul, basically.
Yeah. It seemed to be that kind of way, wasn't it?
I quit. I can't take it anymore. And George says to him, "I'll play anything you want." What in the hell do you bloody want, Paul? I'll play anything you want. Just tell me what you want and shut up already.
Took the limelight. I mean, you just tore it away from the Beatles.
Well, knocked those guys out of the first place. Summer of Love, Light My Fire becomes the #1 hit in America in the Summer of Love, and we knocked the Beatles off the top of the charts. Boy, did that feel good. Man, did we get swelled egos. Hey, we just knocked off the Beatles. We're #1. Just a bunch of guys from Venice Beach, California. Damn, we did it, guys. Yeah, that felt great, man.
Now, before that happened, when you guys were creating the Doors, Jim Morrison was more of a normal kind of guy. I mean, this really got to his head, didn't it?
Well, you know what got to him? Yeah, it wasn't so much that. It was the drinking. That's what gets to you, And fame carries an indulgence, and everybody started to indulge him, And he's the great Jim Morrison, and he got indulged. He got indulged to death.
What did you think of Val Kilmer's
good
adaptation?
Val was good, man. Val was good. Val was good, and the movie was good, and it's all good. It's all good.
Did it look like that pretty much was the way it went?
Like it, yeah, but it wasn't the real Jim Morrison. It was like an Oliver Stone cokehead version of Jim Morrison. It was like Jim was virtually totally crazy in that movie. He was much more artistic, much more sensitive.
The new CD that's out, the live compilation. Let's give that a plug.
Sure.
What is it called? Bright Midnight is the name of the company?
No, it's on Bright Midnight Records.
Bright Midnight
Records is a subsidiary of the Doors website. It's a website-only record company. It's thedoors.com. And you can go to thedoors.com and get all kinds of good things. And Live in America, Live in Detroit, a fantastic concert, the Aquarius Theater. So what we've got is a bunch of, and there will be more coming out, of great concerts that we've played, recorded on either really good recording equipment, 8-track, like Detroit and Boston will be coming, and the Aquarius Theater is excellent equipment. And then some bootlegs, that were recorded in the audience, and we take them and we put them through the Sonic Solutions state-of-the-art sound manipulator, digital software that just makes them sound fabulous. You take an old tape and it'll come out sounding really good, takes out all the hiss and everything. So that's on, all of it is available on Bright Midnight Records on thedoors.com.
You said on radio, in fact, we ran it here at this radio station with Joe Benson, I think it was Off the Record, or I believe that they were interviewing somebody, said there was only 50,000 copies of some of these CDs. Is that true?
Yeah, that's right. They're exclusive. They're limited editions. We're not trying to flood the market or anything. So, and they're only available through the Doors website. There is some stuff that's available in the record stores. Live in America is available through Electro Records, so you can buy it in the record store. But yeah, we want to just they're limited editions, and that's it.
Certainly not the same Electra that you started out with.
It's the same company, but it's hardly the same people,
Yeah. Tell us about Danny Sugarman. What kind of a guy is Danny Sugarman?
He's a nice guy.
Yeah? Was Danny Sugarman a big help to your career, do you think?
After Jim died, eventually Danny worked his way up to, he was our office boy who eventually worked his way up to becoming our manager, and he's now the official Doors manager. And he's married to the lovely Fawn Hall.
It doesn't happen much where you become like a lower level like that to end up managing the Doors.
Yeah, well, he was very smart. He had a high IQ. So that's how you do it. You have to be very smart and very sharp and very persistent. And he just came around and hung around the office because he loved the Doors so much and he loved the music and everything. And then little by little just took on more and more responsibility until we said, well, you know what, man, why don't you just run the whole show?
I imagine the improvisation of some of the songs on stage. I mean, I understand from people who have been at Doors concerts, they say that, if you liked them on the CD, you're going to love them on stage, because after you get off the first song, the first 4 songs per se, and you start to let your hair down and the crowd is really warmed up, some of the songs, they say, could go up to almost 20 minutes long.
That's right. Yeah, we'd improvise and Light My Fire, you never knew where Light My Fire was going to go in the end and when the music's over. So yeah, I mean, if you like long songs, that's a good thing. Then the Doors did long songs. Absolutely. We'd take it anywhere, man, and you never know where Morrison was going to go. And we'd follow him. We'd follow him into the darkness, into the madness, into the chaos, into the wildness. And it was a wild time. It was always wild, real wild.
Well, I mean, was there eye contact? I mean, you were the closest to him on stage. Did you ever think like, uh-oh, what's going to happen now? I don't know where he's going.
Oh yeah, sure. You'd go, uh-oh, where's he going? But you'd have to be good enough to follow him. Yeah.
He'd have to dirty himself up there for a while to actually be heard, because he was just. I mean, the women loved Jim.
Yeah, they loved him. He's the sex machine. He's the Dionysian walking phallus in leather pants. I mean, he's an erect penis at all times. Those 2 of them, both leather legs. Yeah, the girls loved him, man. They absolutely, and they just adored him. Mm-hmm.
So what was some of the things that he'd have to do for them to actually hear his lyrics, his poetry to music, as so many years it's been drilled in our heads? I mean, was there certain things he had to do to be not so attractive?
Yeah, he had to, exactly. Put on weight and grew a beard. Yeah, he said, wait a minute, nobody's listening to my words. They're just thinking about me as a sex symbol. So he purposely set out to dirty himself up. Exactly.
Wow. Did the girls waiting for you when the concert was done must have been something?
Oh yes, there were a lot of girls, lots of girls, lots of sex.
Okay. Lots of girls, was this for everyone in the group?
Everyone had lots of girls and lots of sex.
Really?
Jim had lots of girls and lots of sex.
I imagine he did.
But what am I going to say,
The lyrics, all the lyrics to the Doors songs, have they ever been published in a book? What I'm trying to say is, did they ever put anything out that you just didn't like?
Yeah, the Oliver Stone movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, but other than that, no. The books are fine. The books are just the lyrics. The Doors lyrics. I mean, that's Jim's words and Robbie's words, and then the music books. Those are all fine. There's a lot of other crazy books out there, like weird stories by people who never met Jim, and and are going to tell you the Doors story and that sort of thing.
Well, I imagine you burn these things in your fireplace, right?
Well, I don't read them. I see them and go, thumb through it a little bit and go, oh my God, here's another one. It's one of those books written by some girl who knew Jim, and a girl wrote a book about Jim and Pam, and then some guy wrote a book called Break On Through, who just a compilation of articles and stuff. I mean, they love the Doors. They mean well, but they don't know anything about the Doors and don't understand the Doors.
Hey, we are talking with Ray Manzarek, and he has a book that is in the bookstores now. It's doing quite well, thank you. It's called Poet in Exile by Ray Manzarek. It's on Thundermouth Press and is an imprint of Avalon Publishing Group, and it's just available everywhere in bookstores, unless Ray was just there, and then it's not available until they get more. But you have to check this out, and Avalon, of course, is just a wonderful publishing company. When was the actual deal signed for the book?
Probably about 8 months. 8 months before the book came out. It takes them that long to print it up and to do editing. You submit a manuscript that's always larger than the book is going to be, and then you go over it with the editors, and then it takes a while to get the artwork together and finally get the thing printed into galleys. First they do a little something called galleys, and you check it over for typos, and then they finally get around to the printing. So it takes a good 8 months to get it out.
Did you have a say about the artwork on the cover?
Yeah. Well, they submitted it. They put it together, and I said, yeah, it looks great. That was my say. I mean, they said, well, should we go with this or not? And I said, sure, go with it. Just make the water look a little bit more like water, and you got it. Very good. And I thought it was great. The poet standing there on sort of a small peak, a mountaintop and with water surrounding.
Before you go, the Aquarius Theater. I'm leaving this for last here. This is probably the Doors at the best, wouldn't you say?
Oh, it's a great concert. Yeah, that's a real good one. That is a very, very hot, very exciting concert. I'm so happy we were able to put that out. And the sound is great, too. So, yeah, you'll absolutely enjoy that. And Aquarius Theater is one of those Sunset Strip theaters down in Hollywood that used to be it was called the Earl Carroll Theater, and they had shows called Vanities, and the Vanities were shows in which bare-breasted babes from the Midwest would strike poses. You know, you couldn't move around a lot. You could do a tableau, and it was sort of a coochie nautch girl kind of place, and they'd have a high-class burlesque house is what those places were, and there'd be, stars would be there, and there'd be cocktails, and it was a wonderful Art Deco venue. It's a great, great venue to play in, and the audience was just primed, man. It was like 1968, 69, and the audience was it was the Sunset Strip. It can't be more Los Angeles than the Sunset Strip.
Yeah, imagine it. Just sit back and plush surroundings and just getting ready, sitting back to know you're going to see the Doors.
Yeah, well, the audience was fabulous. They had a great time. Yeah.
But they're probably
it was plush surroundings in the 1930s. We were playing there in 1968, so it had gotten a good degree of funk to it too. So you didn't have to. It wasn't like we were doing some kind of a Las Vegas venue. It used to be like that, but now it was funky and ready to rock.
I understand. So in other words, if you were to take and smack one of the back of the chairs, many, many gallons of dust would come out.
Well, something like that, exactly.
Yeah. So the Aquarius concerts, the name Paul Rothchild, how did he fit in?
Paul Rothchild's our producer, the Doors producer of all the Doors albums except for L.A. Woman, and that was produced by Bruce Botnick and the Doors. But Paul was with us from the very beginning, man. A great friend, a great producer, and a great guy.
Well, I understand that he had a certain amount of recordings, but he wanted more, and he really made sure that the quality was there with every.
Exactly. That's what's so great about the fact that we've got more recordings. Yeah, I mean, Paul would always push for more. Sure, he was a perfectionist, and he wanted that sound to be just right, and he just wanted as many recordings as he could possibly get together, and that's why we've got the Aquarius concert to put out. If it hadn't been for him saying, "Hey, let's do some more," man, we wouldn't have the Aquarius concert.
Well, I guess a visionary like that, I mean, you thank him today.
Absolutely, man.
I mean, the quality, I've heard some of this stuff. I heard we have the Doors live in America, and that was popped in here to the studio, and we're actually going to put some of it on the air.
Very cool, and I think you'll enjoy it. Yeah, absolutely.
It's hard to get classic rock stations to play real long cuts today because it's so cookie cutter with the Safe 600.
Yeah, it really is, isn't it? It's like it's hard. It's hard, man. It's very hard. I mean, that's why the most played. One of the classic rock guys said to me, "You know what your most played Doors song is?" I said, "Light My Fire." He said, "No." I said, "Well, Riders on the Storm." He said, "No, Love Her Madly." I said, "Why Love Her Madly?" He said, "Because it was a hit and it was short." I thought, oh God, of course, play a short song, go, always turn it over. Got to keep it moving. It's America. We can't stand still. We got to go.
Well, that doesn't happen here.
All right. Well, very cool. See, you guys are ahead of the curve, man. That's where it's going to go. It'll go back to being cool and hip very soon. We can't stay in the state of hysteria that we are.
Did you guys have a favorite announcer or DJ or?
Yeah, out here in L.A., sure. Jim Ladd. Yeah, Jim Ladd was, and it was and still is one of our favorites. And B. Mitchell Reed, the late, unfortunately, Mitch is gone, but B. Mitchell Reed ran a great freeform show, and so did Jim Ladd. And they were freeform. They'd play everything. I mean, it was all over the place. They'd play great music, but they didn't have to restrict themselves to a preordained format from the corporation.
But no matter how long it was, Jim Ladd would play it, huh?
Well, I mean, how long are any of the songs? I mean, what, Bob Dylan, like a Rolling Stone, the Doors, Light My Fire is 6.5, almost 7. Riders on the Storm is whatever the heck that is, 8, 9. The End. I don't know that he would actually. Yeah, he played The End too. So but you're not. They don't play incredibly long songs. They're not going to play a half-hour goofy thing. But yeah, they'd play. 10, 15-minute song would get played, man. Absolutely.
Did it kill you to know that after you put all this work into this song that they're going to chop it for a 45?
Of course, but then that was, what do? It's AM radio back then. Actually played a lot of rock and roll and a lot of music, unlike today where AM radio doesn't play any music. But AM radio played music, but they were a strict 3-minute structure. I mean, they were calling Electra Records from all over the country saying, "We want Light My Fire," and Electra said, "Well, go ahead and play it." They said, "We can't play anything that's 7 minutes long. Can't you give us an edited version? Don't you have a 3-minute or so version of Light My Fire?" And Electra Records said to Paul, they said to Rothschild, and they said, "Man, can we make a short version?" And then Paul said to us, "They're all dying. They want the song, man, but they won't play it unless it's a short version. Let's go in and see if we can edit the thing." And we all said, "Yeah, let's try it, man. And we can get the record played on the radio, those top 40 radio stations, which is all there really were. Let's go for it. Let's see if we can do it." And sure enough, we were able to pull it off.
I imagine Rothschild and Jack Holzman were pretty tight, weren't they?
Oh yeah, good friends. Yeah. They were good buddies before the Doors. Yeah.
I've interviewed Stan Cornyn from Warner, and I never got to Geffen, but I did interview also Jack Holzman for Follow the Music, his book, and he has another, I think, a sequel to the book.
Yeah.
But the guy just lights up when you mention the Doors.
Oh yeah, well he discovered the Doors. He was the only guy who would sign the Doors. No one else. We took the record around. We had our demo record and took it around Los Angeles. No Los Angeles record company would sign the Doors. Jack Holzman from New York City was the only one that would sign the Doors.
It seems like that you were his saving grace, though, to his record company and career, though.
Well, they had a real good folk label, and then they had a Paul Butterfield blues band that did pretty well for them. Love sold a lot of records for them, and then the Doors just put them over the top, made them into a major record company.
Hey, Ray Manzarek is on our telephone, and today we're pushing a book called The Poet in Exile, and the book is called Poet in Exile, Ray Manzarek.
Thank you, Ron.
And all part of Avalon Press. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, brother. Take care of yourself.
You've been listening to an interview with Ray Manzarek of The Doors, originally broadcast over 99.7 BHX. Ron Stekeur produced and conducted the interview. You're listening to the Folk Rock Show on WRSU.